Welcome to the R.E.D Network, where real estate dads juggle the high-stakes hustle of their careers with the heartwarming chaos of family life. Whether you're closing deals, changing diapers, or chasing dreams, we've got you covered. Join us for stories, strategies, and laughs as we navigate the perfect balance between hustle and home. The R.E.D Network, where real life meets real estate.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the R.E.D Network, where we dive into real estate, entrepreneurship, and what it really looks like to balance hustle and home. I'm your host, Jason Huck, and today I'm sitting with a special guest who has made a massive impact on our industry, Brent Mitchell. Brent's been with Keller Williams since 2006, has recruited over 2,200 agents, earned more than $1 million in profit share, and has been named Growth Partner of the Year 12 times. But his story goes way deeper than just the numbers, from burning out as a young business owner to rebuilding himself in South America to now raising a family and helping agents live better lives. Brent brings a perspective that's honest, humble, and incredibly powerful. We talk about his accidental entry into real estate, the lessons he learned from being a young business owner, and how he discovered his passion for helping others succeed. Plus, we get to go into some family life, fitness goals, and what matters most beyond the business. Welcome, Brent Mitchell. How are we doing, buddy?
Man, what an introduction. Thank
There
you so
we go.
much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'll be honest. ChatGPT helped me a little bit with that one. But
You're going to have to do that to me. Because
That's
I
right.
find out I'm getting less and less smart.
We rely too much. I tell everybody all the time, it's probably going to take my job one day, but I'm at least going to have fun in the meantime. So we're going to use it in the meantime. So anything that I didn't cover in the intro, anything that you want to add in there?
No, you know what? I'm just a regular guy, midlife guy, and I'm a dad.
I love that.
And I'm in real estate. I'm not selling real estate, but I'm in the industry and I'm hustling, bustling with all of them. And so I'm having to learn how to hustle with them and learn how to balance myself just like everybody else. And, also being a dad is probably my number one job, besides being a husband. But I really enjoy the opportunity to come up here and just chat with you and see if something I say can rub off on somebody else or vice versa, and how we can all help each other, find that good balance and be the dads that we all want to be.
Man, I love that. And that's exactly kind of where this came from. And just collaborating with other dads across the country, and especially in the industry, whether they're a real estate agent, in leadership in real estate, in the lending side, in the development side, investment side, whatever it has to do with real estate. If they're just somebody that high performer in real estate, but above everything else just loves being a dad, those are the ones that I really want to connect with. And you and I have known each other for a little while, more so in the recruiting side of things, and we'll kind of get into that a little bit later. But one thing in your intro that really kind of stuck out to me, moving down to South America.
Yeah.
I know there were some things that happened before that, but how was that?
It was heaven. It was an amazing experience. I happened to be 30 years old at the time, and I had nothing tying me down, no relationship at the time. I just sold property. I had a good chunk of change in my pocket, and I was like, let's go down here and see what I can find. And I ventured in, and I found a beautiful island in the south of Brazil called Florianopolis. And I stayed down there for 6 to 8 months, got in really good shape, focused on my health, learned some Portuguese, un pouco. I still can remember a little bit. My kids are in jiu-jitsu, so I get to talk a little bit of a little Portuguese slang, like stuff like that. So, but yeah, Brazil was amazing. It was the people that I met and the relationships that I built there were really kind of what made me realize how being in an industry where I had control of my life was more important than just making a paycheck.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of, I think it was a necessary sabbatical for me, dealing with what I dealt with. And I guess we're going to get into that As far as what I did, I had a previous business. You want to go ahead and chat about that now? Or?
Well, yeah, that's a perfect segue into, obviously you're big time in the Keller Williams world. You're big time in the real estate industry and changing lives through allowing people to find the best fit for them as far as real estate company goes. What did you do before that life? What did you do before real estate and before you went down to South America to rediscover?
Before I got into real estate, before I came back from Brazil, and I'll segue to that because when I got back from Brazil, that's when I was recharged and re-energized in the world and what I wanted to do, and I hit the ground running. So before that, I was actually, I did some acting in the past years and years ago, but I actually fumbled into. I was a bartender at the time because I was making myself available to do, commercial auditions and film auditions, and if you look really, really hard, you can see me in Miss Congeniality.
Well, now I'm gonna have to check it out. That's for sure.
Yeah, a couple other little low budget stuff, but I had fun doing it. But in the process, I met a guy. And we started a furniture business, and that furniture business ended up being solely me at the end of it, due to some unforeseen instances or unforeseen circumstances. And let's just put it this way: I drove that business in the ground. It took me a couple years, but the smartest thing I did was investing in the real estate that I bought.
Yeah.
And that right there was like, oh, wow. I want to get into real estate now. I made 6 figures in 2 years, and I hadn't made that much money in a while. So I was like, great, let's get into real estate. Mm-hmm. And then next thing you know, I'm talking to brokerages.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to just, I'm trying to find my fit. And everywhere I go gives me the, hey, yeah, we'll hold your license. Now get out there. Good luck. I hope you make it.
Yeah. High five. Good luck.
Yeah. And that kind of just reminded me of the business that I just pretty much bankrupt. Right. So if I'm thinking I'm going to get out of one industry with no support, no guidance, thinking I can do it on my own, and then I'm going to go jump into real estate and do the exact same thing. No. So I knew better than to jump into that ship. And that's unfortunately what a lot of agents do. They jump to these first brokerages that say we're going to give you this, we're going to give you that. At the end of the day, they don't provide that value, and the agent ends up losing their career and never pursuing it. And that was me. I didn't want to do it. And I said, well, what am I going to do? So being in the furniture industry, I wanted to go down to South America to actually look and import, individual unique items that I could send back and sell to different stores across the United States. And so I went down to Brazil for that purpose only. Mm-hmm. And I ended up falling in love with the people, the culture, the language, the beaches, just everything. And I realized I wanted to stay down there for a bit. And it was a real recharge to me from going and running a business into the ground 60, 70 hours a week to needing that break and that sabbatical to help me get my mind right to know what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And when I ended up coming back from Brazil, I noticed I was thinking real estate again. Mm-hmm. And as I'm driving around Austin, Texas, my home since 1996, so this was 10 years, I had been living in Austin. I had no idea who Keller Williams was. Mm-hmm. I started seeing signs everywhere, and I'm like, who is that? So I went home and I Googled them, and I came across a Craigslist ad.
Not to date ourselves or anything, Craigslist ad.
So I came across this Craigslist ad, clicked on it, filled out the form, and I get this call, and it's a 404 number, and I'm like, Atlanta, Georgia? Who's calling me from Atlanta, Georgia? So I pick up the phone, and it's this guy named Aaron Kaufman. Mm-hmm. And in the recruiting world at Keller Williams, everybody knows Aaron Kaufman.
Pretty big deal.
That preaches and shares with us how to train our agents to bring value to the market center by sharing their knowledge and sharing their story. And Aaron recruited me in 2006, and that was it. I thought it was pretty unique that I was living right in the city of the founding city of Keller Williams, but yet I had no idea what was going on. I probably drove past that place hundreds and hundreds of times over my life, and didn't know what was happening in there. Didn't know the lives that were being transformed inside those walls. And so when I finally found it, I'm like, Eureka, I finally found a company that's going to give me a business model that's going to help me build a business around myself. Not just say, hey, here, go call FISBOs, go do this, go do that, go hold open houses. No, help you build a business around yourself, your skill set, your personality. And that's what really kind of got me into thinking, whoa, that's great for me to learn how to sell real estate. But what about all those other agents out there that have kind of dropped the ball because they don't know what they're getting? They don't know that there's an opportunity at a brokerage that's going to share with them how to grow the business around themselves. So while I continued to sell real estate, I was quietly thinking about this recruiting aspect because I ended up going to a lunch and learn. And in my office, it's the flagship office of Keller Williams here in Austin. And we had the pleasure of having Althea Osborne come to our office and teach a lunch and learn. Now, no disrespect, but I was there for the food. But when I learned about the possibility that were behind growing this company and the ability to build a legacy for your family and to have a willable heir, an asset that's going to grow, and all I had to do was share what this company has done for me and how it can change your business for the better as well as your life. So I want to do that. That's when I reached back out to Aaron and said, I want to recruit. And next thing you know, I ended up building my own website, and started really getting after it and making that my one thing. Started really in 2008 and kept going from there to create a system that recruited a few thousand agents and more through the other agents in my tree who I've really helped, grow as well through the same system that I've been using for all this time.
Well, that's how we got connected. It was probably 6 or 7 years ago. I was a new team leader. And for those that don't know the team leader role, that first year, you just feel like you're trying to stay above water. Like you're just trying not to drown, man. And I remember you had called me or sent an email and had somebody that was ready to, interview brokerages, maybe ready to join. And jumped on a quick call. I was like, wait a second. So you're telling me that you can just send me people that are considering joining Keller Williams and I don't have to make 1,000 phone calls. This is talk. Yeah. Tell me more. And we're actually able to work together on quite a few agents and helped a lot of people together. So much so that we were on a virtual panel together, or a virtual interview panel before Family Reunion, which for Keller Williams is like our biggest convention of the year. And during COVID, of course, like everything else, everything was virtual. Was super.
My one big shot.
Oh man, it was huge, and I remember being so pumped, so proud. Had it on TV at home. Our segment's coming up, and Gary and Jason Abrams is on the screen. I'm like, oh man, even better. They're the ones that are going to introduce us. And that was actually during the time that Austin had the biggest ice storm that they've ever experienced. And they could only do during that segment of the day, live stuff. They weren't able to have access to anything recorded. And so I was waiting this entire time and telling my friends and agents and family and stuff about this. And then it never happened. I just remember sending you a text saying womp.
I know.
We'll get together on another one at some point.
Another one day, yeah, for sure.
I do want to we'll get into it more towards the end. I want to get more into your platform because it's actually really impressive and it's helped me a lot personally. But before that, let's get into some family stuff. Devoted husband, proud papa. Tell me about your family.
Well, I've got a beautiful wife, Shannon. We've been married. Well, how long? I was about to tell you her age. I better not do that.
Close call. Yeah.
Well, I'll start with the wife first. Don't start with the kids. It's going to tell the ages of the kids. Don't tell the age of the wife.
No.
So we've been married 11 years. 11 years. And we have two wonderful boys. Braxton's 10 and Cameron is 8. We're very active in, oh my gosh, we're active in everything. We're active in school. We're active in, I'm technically a watchdog at the school. It's watchdog stands for Dads of Great Students. And
cool.
so it's kind of an opportunity where dads can come to the school and participate in not only recess, but other aspects of the school. You can be in your kid's classroom. You can keep an eye on things. And I've been pretty busy with some other things in what I've been developing recently, but that's kind of one of my favorite things to do is be involved at the school. And you can go up there for an hour, you can go for 2 hours, you can go for lunch, and just be involved in with them at their school is a real fun part.
Man, that's awesome. We were talking before about just how busy we both are with everything youth sports and everything that goes along with a 10 and 8-year-old. I got soon to be 11-year-old girl and 8-year-old boy. And so kind of living those same dreams. Whenever you say that watchdog thing, that just reminds me of like the amount of time that it takes to be able to do these things and to have the opportunity to be more purposeful with your children, and how I'll go to these picnics at the school. They do different picnics, or they have different days, and to just have the ability to go. And I'll go, and a lot of times it's a lot of just one parent, and because maybe one parent has the flexibility to go and one parent does not. And for my wife and I to both be able to be there, it's just so cool, because you've kind of built this foundation to where you have businesses that are running versus a job that you need to be at, and there's a big difference there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wholeheartedly agree. I mean, it was this week, 2 days ago. It was a second grade field trip. So we got to go to Interspace Caverns, which is back in the 60s. They were building I-35 through Austin. And they were drilling down to see how far they could hold the weight of the highway. And they ended up finding these caverns, and they go down all under the ground, and it's cool. So you get to see find different fossils from saber-toothed tigers and woolly mammoths and all these kind of camels. Actually, did you know camels started here?
No, I did not. That was not on my.
At a second grade field trip.
That's crazy. Camels and saber-toothed tigers. Maybe.
Saber-toothed tigers. Yeah, we got those pretty crazy around here.
You better look out for those, man. That's wild. Well, so tell me a little bit more about the family. What is your favorite way to recharge as a family? Because everybody that operates at the level that you do, high performer, we enjoy, kind of running wide open, right? But then you have to recharge. What do you like to do to recharge as a family?
Well, recharging in our family can be a multitude of things. It can really kind of be a lazy day, because our kids run a lot. I mean, we've got soccer, we've got basketball, we've got jiu-jitsu, we've got extra tutoring to help with classes. We've got mental health days. We've got things of that nature that really we kind of put our kids in to make sure that they're getting, the things that they need to thrive. But at the same time, we want to kind of help them kind of chill as well. So, either we're get them outside. Sometimes, hard to get guys off. What is that?
I don't know. I heard a little static there, but I think also, like you said, kind of recharging after kind of running wide open with all those different events is super important. Just having those lazy days, like you said, kind of laying by the pool or just spending time as a family, not having to be anywhere, I think can be important.
Yeah, actually, sorry. I think that was your assistant team leader. Just she was messaging our platform or something. So, or maybe it wasn't her. It was something. Maybe I saw her name, and maybe it wasn't her.
Hey, at least we know she's working. That's right. Well, we're on here playing around. That's great. Right. So the whole premise is, balancing hustle and home, right? And so as a high performer, how do you balance hustle and home for Brent Mitchell?
It's gotta be on a schedule, man. Mm-hmm. It's gotta be intentional. I've made a real intention for my health. we talked a little bit about our health and getting in shape, and and parenting young kids and hustle and bustle, you can kind of lose sight of that and say, I'm not going to do it. And it's so easy to get into that rut. And, I spent a year not working out because I was working, right? So when I started making that more a priority, and I think the real kicker is I'm hitting the big 5-0 this year. And I told my boys, I said, I'm going to be in the best shape of my life by the time I turn 50. So I've got until October 12th of this year, and I got to see what I can do. And I'm slowly working on it.
Let's go. That's awesome. 6 months left.
6 months left. I think a lot can happen in 6 months. So
a lot can happen in 6 months. What are you doing? Get in the best shape of your life, right? And you're pretty good shape down in South America, like 8% body fat, right? Just jacked. What do you do now? That was your job, right? Is just getting healthy, getting in the best shape of your life at that point. What do you do now to get in the best shape of your life at 50?
Well, honestly, the schedule of the kids is really driving,
Yeah.
because it doesn't allow you to sleep in, right? I'm up at 6 o'clock. The kids are on the bus by 6:40. I'm either walking for a mile or 45 minutes to an hour after they get off the bus. Then I can spend time. I've got one of those tonal machines.
Oh, yeah.
That was a COVID purchase, but it's the best purchase of my life.
Yeah.
That thing is amazing. You can do all kinds of exercises, workouts. It tracks your progress, your growth. And we're doing this program right now called 12 Weeks to Jacked.
Okay.
And I had to change mine to 16 weeks to jacked.
I need a little bit more time to be jacked.
It's 4 days a week, and actually today's leg day.
Okay.
And don't tell anybody I skipped leg day today.
Oh man, you got.
I love the other ones, but my God, the leg ones are brutal.
Hey,
so,
today's not over. You still have time to get leg day in.
I think it's Saturday morning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, we were talking before, and I'm kind of in that same spot as the beginning of the year. I had a little injury last year, and so just kind of not in that greatest physical shape, which then I think you kind of bleed into not the greatest mental shape, and then maybe not the greatest professional shape, and it just kind of all runs together. But there's something about getting like your physical and mental health where it needs to be, that then all of a sudden you become a better parent, you become a better business owner, you become just a better human being. And so kind of making that a priority, spending that time to just get through that first like month or 2 months of this really sucks and it's painful. And then now all of a sudden it's easy to maintain. It's just getting to that point.
Yeah, it's exactly it. And you speak about, making yourself better, like those times that I have on those walks, podcasts. So I'll listen to, there's a podcast that I recently started listening to. It's called Fathers on Purpose, or I believe. And then, there's another one out there called, Calm Parenting Podcast. So, how to deal with crazy kids, so always trying to better yourself to make yourself a better father, a better husband. So my wife, she listens to all these crazy books that are all romance and all that fun stuff. I'm always trying to better myself. I'm not listening to romance. I'm like, how can I become a better husband? How can I become a better entrepreneur? How can I burn fat better? How can
Mine listens to murder mysteries, and so
I love those too.
Yeah,
that's
what we had joked. We did 75 hard a little while ago, and part of it is you have to read a certain amount of pages a day, and I ended up just kind of modifying it and turning it into like listen a certain amount of time, whatever the equivalent of reading those pages a day would be for like listening to like a podcast. Because like reading, I won't even listen to myself read. Like I just start trailing off, and then now I'm thinking about other stuff. And so, but if I'm listening to a podcast or a book, then it's a different story. And we had talked about doing 75 hard again, but this time switching and like having to listen to or read the other person's suggestion. So like what they would have read for their thing, and kind of switching. So we'll see if that comes to fruition or not. But so. Talking about that work-life balance, and of course, you're you got an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, and you've learned a lot of things along the way as a dad, as a business owner, as a entrepreneur. If you were to go back and talk to your previous self or, young real estate dads today, because I'm going to be interviewing a few that are just now kind of getting into the dad game. I know a couple of them that just had their first child. What advice would you give your previous self, knowing what you know now?
That's twofold, because one can be kind of self-serving in a way because of what my focus in my career is. But honestly, it has a lot to do with profit share. Profit share is a legacy, right? And that legacy can be. Hold on, rephrase that question. I completely lost my train of thought there.
Well, I think like whenever you've had this experience of 10 plus years of being a parent and being in that real estate industry and recruiting and building platforms and owning businesses and things like that. If you're going to go back in time, maybe you're having your first child all over again and giving your previous self some advice, what would that be?
It's parent brain. You get it.
It's a real thing.
So many things going on in your life, and you're like, hey, I got 99 right. I missed one. Well, and one is profit share, because honestly, looking back at myself, before I even had kids, it was, I saw the ability that you could grow and leave something for your family. So I was thinking, wow, my family leaving me like farmland and houses and stuff. What am I going to leave my family? Mm-hmm. What am I going to have a legacy? Am I going to have anything I can leave? And so based on that assumption, I was like, well, I'm going to invest in this profit share and start building up that so that I have something that's going to grow with my kids. Because honestly, I stalled a little bit there in my profit sharing journey. And then when I had kids, boy, and Aaron actually was loving that. He goes, when he had that first kid, boy, his productivity shot up. He goes, but when he had that second kid, he's like, my God, he went ballistic.
They'll do it to you because you know what? Kids are not cheap. And
they're amazing drivers. So, being able to have something that you could leave for them is in legacy building is that. But the other part that I would say for young dads is to make sure that you're balancing and you set your business up so that you can do the things that you want to do. Mm-hmm. Because this business can either eat you alive or you can run it around yourself.
Yep.
And so if you learn and structure your business around yourself, around your life, around your personality, and use that as a form of your lead generation as well as your business, then that's going to create an opportunity for you to continue to do what you do, but allow you to break away and never miss a game, never miss a soccer match, never miss anything.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that I was able to go to Inner Space Caverns this week. I went to the Texas State Museum earlier this year, and then we had my son played a basketball game against the faculty. They had the students, the faculty, and if I had a regular job, I couldn't do that. Right. And so being able to have an industry that allows us to formulate our business around ourselves is extremely valuable. But you've got to structure it that way, because if you don't, it can eat you up, and then you're spinning your wheels, you're missing things, and the next thing you know, you're out of the business because you're not making any money.
Getting a regular job.
And that's what reminds me of my furniture business. Spinning my wheels, going crazy, wanting to work, working hard, but not able to produce any results because I didn't have any support.
Yeah.
So trying to do it by yourself, man, I mean, I commend you if you can. Right?
Well, there's some people that can, and then there's a lot of people that can't for long. And even if you can, it's tough.
As the market changes, people change, the society is changing, and look what's going on in the world. We've got to be able to adapt all these changes, recessions, depressions, booms, pandemics, tariffs, whatever. Man. It's part of our world, and whatever we're going to do, we have to adapt to it. And And that's what I love about the Keller Williams family is it's always adapting us to the market of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just me against the world out there. It's all of us working together. And I think that culture means a lot. And so if you're searching for a company and it's a real estate dad, you don't want a broker that's just going to say, hey, I don't care if you're working, if you don't see your family, I want you here working.
Right.
You make sure that they're providing value to you so that you can still live your life and build it around you and be a part of it and making your family, your faith and your family number one and your business last.
Yep. Faith and family first. And I think there's a huge difference between having a real estate job, and you can have a really great real estate job that pays you great money, and having a real estate business. And you said it a second ago, if you have that real estate business, then you can be that present parent and you can go on the trips. You can do the different things that matter the most for you. Because why are we doing it in the first place? I was able to go down to my daughter's gymnastics meet down in Orlando. It was right after family reunion. So as everybody's kind of licking their wounds from Vegas and ready to get back home to recharge, I was flying from Vegas to Orlando to do a full day at Universal Studios and then go to a gymnastics meet, and was able to have a couple people come into the market center, recruit a couple people while I was gone, went under contract with a client that I've been working with for a little while I was gone, and we manage our own Airbnbs. We got multiple Airbnbs. We're able to do that while we were gone because we set all those things up as businesses instead of different jobs that we have. And by having that ecosystem that has taught us how to do it, that is Keller Williams, it's been huge for us. It's been life-changing for us. And so
that's why I love it. I mean, I lived 2 miles away from the number one Keller Williams office in this entire country. And I had no idea they existed. Mm-hmm. It took a call from a Craigslist, a free Craigslist ad by you.
Free ad.
Internet to get me into an office to say, oh, wow, we can help you do that. God, life-changing.
Yeah. Well, that's a solid segue to our last little segment here. Tell me more about your platform. I've used it, so I guess tell us more because it's already helped me quite a bit. But tell us a little bit more about that and go into that side of things.
Well, let me ask you, as far as in recruiting, what's the most fun part of the recruiting process?
Oh man!
If you were going to recruit somebody, now we're talking about an internet recruit.
Yeah.
Because I'm a virtual man here. So
right.
So internet recruit. What do you think? Man,
so typically internet recruit, probably a new agent that's getting their license, getting into the business, maybe an agent at another company. But getting to sit down in front of them, for me, the most fun part is sitting down in front of them and getting to hear, their journey of how they got here and why are they getting into real estate? Why are we talking today? And then to be able to map out exactly what that looks like for them to get started and to even, achieve the goals that they've got quicker than they think. That's the most important and most fun thing for me to do.
Yeah. And that was kind of my philosophy as well. I mean, I've had over 5,000 recruiting calls. So
Mm-hmm.
that's me on the phone. I have a headset, thank God. It's
Yeah.
like, because I talk with my hands. I'm very much a hand talker. So I'm out there preaching, walking. Actually, when I was doing calls on a regular, I was getting in 1,100 steps in my house.
Wow.
Every 30 minutes.
Wow.
So talk about some good way to multitask there.
No kidding. That's wild.
Yeah. Where were we? My God, my brain.
So having the ability to not having to make all of those calls, and that platform essentially sets you up with those people for you.
Exactly. And I started focusing on building a system that would actually help other agents recruit and do only that.
Yeah.
Just without a consultation.
Yeah.
Because overall, that was the part that I love the most. That's the part when I don't want to have a call today. I don't want to recruit anybody. I don't want to have a call. I've got 3 calls. I gotta build this energy. Every time I got on that call, I was pumped and it built me up because I was exciting somebody about changing their life for the better and getting them to the company that was going to help do that.
Yeah.
and so that was the part that I loved the most. I said, if I could just find a way to make this other part go away, then this will be my job and my career forever. And so everything that you hate about recruiting, you don't have, what my system basically does is you don't have to have a website. You don't have to place ads. You don't have to generate leads. You don't have to qualify leads. You don't have to schedule them to talk to consult with you. We'll do all of that 100% free for you. So I'm not good at this spiel yet because it's fairly new system. And I think for the last 15, 16 years that I've been doing this recruiting and consulting with people, I feel like I'm not selling anything when I'm selling Keller Williams because I believe it so well. I believe in what I've built as well because it's changed my life. But as far as me trying to put it into words, sometimes I'm like, I'll do everything you don't want to do. I'll take the lead, and the way we do it is I created an affiliate-based system on my website, which basically creates a KW career link for every agent their career consultant that signs up.
Yep.
So that consultant link, you can share it on your website. You can share it in your email signature. You can put it out in social media. Any lead that is generated from your link with your affiliate code, your KW career link code, any link that's generated goes into your recruiting database. And then we take over and we do all the nurturing, all the follow-up, all the qualifying. If they're not in school, we get them enrolled in school. And then when they're finally ready to interview, if they're licensed or they're ready to interview, we automatically schedule them on your calendar, which is an in-house calendar that we built that syncs with your Google or your Apple calendar. Yep. So it allows you to be able to simply get a notification that you have an appointment with a recruit. You get all the details about the recruit so that you're educated about who they are, where they're located, which market centers they're in proximity to. We provide that information so that all you need to do is pick up the phone, have the consultation, excite them about Keller Williams, and then you can choose to refer them yourself to the market center, or we also offer a service where we can refer them for you to the market center. We'll set up the appointment, we'll follow up, and we'll let you know the outcome of their sponsorship decision. And that's all for $69 per recruit. So, but I think that the real cool power of what I've really built is it's allowing agents to come in and really recruit and not have to do any of the hard work.
Right. Well, and they're not even at that point recruiting, right? Because I think that's whenever you talk to people about what do you love doing, it's helping people change lives. And then what they maybe don't love doing as much is recruiting. Like I'm a paid recruiter. That's part of my role as a team leader in Keller Williams. And I don't even like using the term recruiting because I feel like I'm a consultant. And part of the reason why we've worked so well together and part of the reason why I've had the opportunity to be on stage at Family Reunion for recruiting numbers is because you all and other pillars that we have that funnel leads are able to set those appointments for me. So I can just focus on consulting, and then you're not trying to sell somebody on a product that maybe you don't believe in. You're just consulting with them to see how can I help them the best, right?
Absolutely. That's what I call myself as well. I call myself a career consultant. And ideally, it's about providing value to not only the recruit, but also providing value to the market centers you're surrounding them as well. If you can help market centers grow by providing them the quality leads, and they don't have to worry about setting up the appointments, and we can drive them directly to you, it's a win-win.
Win-win. I love that. Awesome. All right, Brent, we're coming up on time. Before we go, any last parenting advice to all the real estate dads out there? If you were to say, what dads of all experience levels, either I'm having my first child or I've got 4 that are, already college and beyond, what would be that best parenting advice that you would give them?
Be present.
Yeah.
Be present.
Yeah.
I mean, that honestly to me is is everything. You're only living in the moment, and everybody tells you it goes by really fast. And having a double-digit kid in the house now, 10 years old, I'm like, whoa, how'd that happen?
How did we get here? Yeah.
How did I get here? And you think about you're going to think of every single phase of your child's existence as, in some instances, some of them it can be really traumatic, it can be hard. You got to mold kids, right? You have to mold your children into who they are, right? They're not just going to automatically be that. So that takes work, not only for us to help them, but we have to work on ourselves, which I think is the most important thing. Because once you become a dad, you start seeing all the things that you do that are annoying to you or that are bad traits in yourself. And you'll see them in that kid, and you'll think, I don't want my kid to have that trait or that characteristic, so I'm going to work on, maybe I didn't heal that in my life. I've got to heal myself so I don't respond that way, so I can learn to let go, right? And not let things bother me in certain ways. I think that's a huge part of my mental health is really, focusing on being as present as I can.
Yeah.
Because if you start dwelling on the past or focusing on the future, you're missing what's right in front of you.
100%. It'll be gone before you know it, for sure.
Yeah.
Man, well, that was great. I know you stay busy, and so I really appreciate you just taking a little bit of time to spend with me and to share with us, and for just going a little bit deeper into how you balance hustle and home. So hopefully have you on again in the future. And again, really appreciate you, Brent. Thanks a lot.
Jason, it's an honor, man. And look forward to continuing watching this network grow, man. I've watched all the other episodes, and I even sent you that message. I'm like, man, these guys are good, dude. What are you going to talk to me about?
Yeah, man. You sent me that, and I was like, okay, that means we've got at least one person that watches this. This is great.
Oh, it's growing, baby. It's growing.
This is great news for me. All right, Brent, take it easy, buddy.
All right, buddy. Take care.